doing great in that, because I'm just going to say it, I think it must be a sinus infection. Like,
yeah, I would say probably.
I've had something for like the past several weeks, and now
It's been like a week and a half.
I've given it. I've been feeling crappy for a little while, but now you've got it, so we're both kind of.
Mine is predominantly just vocal related, which is great when trying to teach high school.
Yeah, right. So
anyways.
But when you're not feeling good, what makes you feel great are just relaxing movies.
Low stakes.
See, look at that segue. Wasn't that great? That was a good segue.
Cool medicine's not affecting your brain.
Yeah, that's right. At least I hope not while driving.
We have been talking about movies that just don't cause a lot of anxiety or intensity while watching them.
I kind of call them, and this is not a mean way, but I call them the plotless, or like the very low stakes films where they are just kind of a recline back and just kind of groove. You know which ones my mom really likes?
What's that?
There were these two films, and I think one of them was done either in the 60s or the 70s. The Endless Summer.
Okay.
Where the guy just goes around the world and surfs.
Right.
And it literally is just. It's not a documentary. It's not a narrative. It's just we traveled here, we went here, and we surfed here. Right. And like a lot of really beautiful ocean footage and things like that.
It's movies. And I would put this on a different level than like Hallmark comfort watching, because sometimes those stakes are pretty high, not anxiety making, but the town's gonna shut down because of the candy cane factory.
I hope they'll win the pumpkin cook-off.
We gotta save Christmas. I'm sorry, they were not trying to win the pumpkin cook-off. That was not the stakes in that one.
I know.
You miswatched it, okay?
I did not miswatch it. I watched it perfectly. Matter of fact, I think I watched it even more correctly than most people. Mm-hmm. Just saying. I picked up on the subtitles, or the subtext, yeah.
Anyway, if you're wondering, that movie is called Pumpkin Pie Wars, and it is a Hallmark movie from about 7 years ago that remains one of my favorite autumn watchings. But no, I think even lower stakes than that, as in no one's life is going to be ruined. No one's, there's no disastrous events going to happen. I think of Dr. Dolittle, the original Dr. Dolittle with Rex Harrison, was it?
I could never get all the way through that.
Oh, I loved that movie.
It got weird after a while, and I was like, I don't know what's happening right now.
That was the best part, with all of the animals being weird. I loved that movie. We watched that. I watched that a lot with my mom. I wanted to live inside a giant snail and go traveling.
Yeah, it does sound like the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee it's more comfortable than airline travel.
He had a big Nautilus shell, and you could live inside it and go from place to place.
That sounds groovy. I like that.
All right, what else you got?
One that I really like, and I've shown it to you, and we've talked about it here on the show before. A movie called The Big Year.
Oh, yeah.
With, Steve Martin, Jack Black, and Owen Wilson.
Right.
About bird watching.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Wrong
We
button.
turn the radio on. But yeah, it's about these three guys in a competition to be the best bird watcher.
Right.
And it is, it's just that, they don't get any prize for it. There's no, there's no, nothing really to be gained or lost. It's just kind of a personal pride thing. But it is just a movie about, let's go all over the country and see all these really pretty places and look at birds. Like, wouldn't you love to just not work and just travel around and look at birds?
Would you place the Christopher Guest movies in this category?
I wouldn't, because the what separates the Christopher Guest movies from more of these films are two things to me. One, interesting locales. Going someplace where the scenery is nice and you just want to go, this is. We were talking about it last night. Like the ultimate one of these, I think, is White Christmas.
Okay.
You know, or you just kind of, it's so pretty. It's so.
I will go to Vermont at some point. Yes.
You know,
Vermont is I want to White Christmas it up.
Yeah, and the other thing is that for the Christopher Guest movies, the stakes are high as far as the characters are concerned.
Okay.
You know, putting on that play and Waiting for Guffman is treated like the most important thing in the world.
Well, and I would say in the movie we're going to review today, it's not that the stakes weren't high for some of the characters, but they were almost immediately resolved.
Yes.
Like, and I think that's part of it too, is like there's no long-term waiting. Oh my God, won't they are they going to figure it out? Which is, you know, why I wouldn't put most rom-coms in this category either.
Yeah.
But when there is an issue, a high-stakes issue, it's almost complete, like immediately taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for the Christopher Guest movies, I think that's where the tragedy of the Christopher Guest movies is that to them, like I say, putting on the play, winning the dog show, you know, playing in the reunion tour, that's big stakes for them, but then the epilogue always kind of shows it's big stakes to them, but it's not really to anybody else.
Right.
And yeah, you did that, but, you know, in the end, it was just a community theater play.
So, what about, would you consider older movies to kind of fall more in the low-stakes category then?
It depends on which older movie.
Okay, what about, older musicals, like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers?
Yeah. Yeah, Frilly. Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see. I think those might not fall so much into it just by the virtue of the budget.
Okay.
And that they're much bigger kind of productions, so they don't really feel like a travel log. But I can definitely see that, yes, those are comfort films and just kind of,
turn left onto County Highway L51.
Thank you.
County Highway L56.
Thank you, God. So I don't know if you heard our co-pilot there. That was the
Chippus.
The Chippus. So yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
So let me ask this, since we're kind of
take the next left onto
since
County Highway L51.
since we're taking the next left.
L56.
Let me ask this, since we're feeling this way, and I think we might have had this conversation for another one of these. But we're both kind of feeling blah right now. So what's a sick day movie that you really enjoy?
I tend to lean into the Meg Ryan 80s and 90s kind of milieu.
Mm-hmm.
You've Got Mail.
Yeah.
Good one.
Great film.
When Harry Met Sally.
The best rom-com ever.
Even French Kiss, which is an odd one.
Yeah, that is
not a great sick-day movie. When a Man Loves a Woman.
No.
Not very low stakes at all.
No. Yeah, isn't that the one where she's an alcoholic?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a relaxing film by any.
Even the one, well, I would not put so much the one, Hanging Up, where she's the sister with Diane Keaton
and Lisa Kudrow, isn't it?
I think so, somebody like that. But I would not put that one on that list because they are. Diane Keaton is not a relaxing voice.
No.
I think Diane Keaton has done good work in her time, but the last 20 years it's been Shrill has been her main character.
Yeah, that's fair.
Trope, and that's not relaxing to me.
That's fair.
What about you?
You know, when I was a kid, I remember I was about middle school age. I was homesick for like almost a week. And I remember during that time, the two films I watched kind of repeatedly were Wayne's World, because it was on HBO at the time, and it was one of those ones that was just on every other minute, and an Abbott and Costello film called Mexican Hayride.
Okay.
And so I would watch those, but I remember very, very distinctly, probably one of my most cherished sick day memories is one time when both my mom and I were sick for like, I don't know how long, we got something, and we watched Steel Magnolias like so many times.
Oh my gosh.
And like it would come on, and again, this was on HBO. Like it would come on, we'd fall asleep in the middle,
Right.
and we'd wake up, and it would be pretty much right where we left off because they just ran it a second time. So I don't know how many times we saw Steel Magnolias during that period.
Well, you know, when I would be home with my mom, because I've got celiac disease, and so there was a patch of time in my teen years when I was basically at home or in and out of the hospital for an entire semester of school. And we did watch Steel Magnolias, Terms of Endearments, but like we are both Hallmark movies are our jam.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of thing too. That's a good sick day fare where, you know, you're not so stressed trying to figure out what's going to happen that you can't relax and fall asleep.
Yeah, no, I got that. Like now, my go-to sick day movies are usually Mystery Science Theater episodes.
Right.
Like Starfighters.
Yeah.
I usually put that one and I can fall asleep really easily. There's another one. The Dead Talk Back.
Okay.
I can, I'll usually put on a Mystery Science Theater, and you know, like you say, I know those episodes so well, I'm just gonna close my eyes and just kind of drift off. So
right, that's kind of how I am with the Law and Order episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
But the problem I have with that, because I don't mind that we do that we fall asleep to Law and Order. The problem is that when I wake up and like it's changed to another episode, and I'm trying to like, wait, when did that happen? Or worse, when that doesn't happen, when I only fall asleep for a minute, I wake up and the plot has gone so far down the rabbit hole. They're like, wait, how did this connect back to what was happening before?
There's a couple episodes we've had to rewatch.
Yes. Just to kind of figure out what the hell was happening.
I would put Criminal Minds and NCIS in that too. I don't know why. Maybe because NCIS treats it with like there's a lot more humor involved with it than Law and Order or Criminal Minds. But the last couple of times I've been homesick, it's been NCIS because it's just a nice, gentle kind of soft focus.
It's like you say, it's procedural, it's
right.
predictable, and not in a bad way, but it's that kind of, you know, it's not something you're like, oh, wow, plot twist, gotta wake up.
Well, and there's enough seasons at this point that, like, you can go back and rewatch and have no idea, like, can totally forget
exactly
which one it is.
There are entire episodes of Law and Order SVU I have no memory of. Like, I don't know when certain people left or when, you know.
Oh, yeah, you don't even, like, actually know the names of the detectives at this point.
Half the time, yeah, it's like Blondie and...
Mustache guy.
Mustache guy. Wait, Mustache guy?
Well, he only kept it for the first season, but Dominic Greasy had a mustache for the first season.
I thought you were talking about weak facial hair man from NCIS.
Oh, no, you do not like him.
It's not that I don't like him, I don't like his beard. If you can't grow a full one, shave that off. You look like you got cookie crumbs on your chin.
Goatees are fine.
Goatees are fine, but
You leave Tim McGee alone.
thick, manly goatees, not little beatnik.
You leave him alone. He was Binks.
I don't care.
Anyways.
Bro, the cat had a bigger goatee than he did.
Do you know what?
What?
You're lucky I love you.
I am actually. I'm very lucky you love me.
So anyways, chime in, let us know what your low stakes comfort watching is.
Yeah.
You know, this is the time of year where we like to watch things that make us feel good rather than maybe stimulate us.
Yeah. We're looking, I think, not just because of the holidays, but I think when you get to this time of the year, you're just tired.
Right.
You just want to relax. You just want the stress of the past couple months to dissipate, and which is funny because at the same time, this is when the movie studios are bringing out all the stuff they're trying to get for Oscar contention.
Right.
So this is when all the heavy shit starts coming out.
Yeah.
Like what we saw, like a trailer for the Napoleon movie. Oh wow!
And even as a history buff, I'm like, do we really need this? But
Well, the problem is, like, I remember a few years back, I went and saw, there was this really good movie. It was a really, really well done movie, well acted, well directed. It was a Ridley Scott film. It was called The Last Duel.
Okay.
With Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and Ben Affleck. Good movie. But it was a film that, you know, you've got to be, like, in the mood to go see, like, an art piece film to go watch it, because it's this Rashomon thing about different points of view, and you know, Adam Driver is accused of raping Matt Damon's wife, and so they have a duel to settle it and all this. And Ridley Scott got up on his high horse about, you know, it's the millennials who didn't go see my precious movie, and that's why it didn't do good. It's like, dude, your movie was good, but it was a fucking drag.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, I love a good acted and a well written and directed piece of cinema, but sometimes I just want to go to the movies.
I think of things like The Green Knight, which is really artistically maybe one of the most interesting movies I've watched in the last couple of years. But that's not the kind of thing that's gonna make your money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's not the kind of thing that, especially this time of year, that a lot of people are looking to go.
Right.
You know, again, I can't make a judgment call on it because we haven't seen it, but like, you know, Mr. Anti-Marvel, Martin Scorsese, and his, go see my
3-hour-long Western. Why is this not coming out in the summertime? This is a summertime movie.
Because he's trying to get it for Oscar contention. That's exactly.
Oh, sit down, Marty.
And I'm not saying that the film probably isn't important or good.
No, it is important.
Yeah,
it's very important. But it's also, I'm sorry, I have to think about family and buying Christmas presents and entertaining my children for a week of, you know, and our, like, the in-laws coming in. So, I don't want to also have to think about
to go feel incredible white guilt.
Which, we should feel. We absolutely should feel that. But also, maybe save it for March.
Yeah, but or like what I want to see, but I don't. Who decided this was going to be released on Christmas? We saw the trailer for the movie The Iron Claw about the Von Erich wrestling family.
Oh, right.
Which, if you don't know this story, this is one of the most storied wrestling families in history. But you know, of like 4 or 5 brothers, and all but one of them are dead due to suicide.
Yes.
And they're releasing this on Christmas, like Christmas Day. Who is sitting around Christmas Day going, okay, kids,
let's lean into our seasonal depression.
What do we want to go see? Do we want to stay home and watch The Grinch? Boo! Or go see The Iron Claw? Hooray! And if you are alone on Christmas, that's not the movie I would recommend going and checking out.
Okay, calm down, sweetheart. We are gonna go see it though, because like 5 people we love are in it.
Exactly, and it's a wrestling movie, so I'm definitely going to see it, just not on Christmas Day.
One thing
Excuse me.
that we have been talking about that we are likely going to be doing is doing some bonus episodes, speaking of the opposite of this, and leaning into the comfort watching. Hallmark puts out new movies every year.
Yep.
And they have started releasing them in their countdown to Christmas. And so look out, hopefully starting maybe next week.
Yep.
We will be releasing an extra episode a week talking about the new Hallmark movies that are coming out.
I'm looking forward to this.
So
I am looking forward to this. I scoffed. I was a scoffer at the Hallmark movie, the Hallmark Christmas movies. But since getting together with you, I have found the charm in them.
Right.
So I am very much looking forward to doing like a collection of Hallmark movie reviews. I'm very much looking forward to that.
So, anyways, we're going to take a break. I'm going to drink some more tea. And you catch us back talking about My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
Yep. Hey.
Welcome back, my Italian fella. Now, okay.
Where did I go?
Well, let's talk My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Okay.
Which originally came out like 21 years ago.
Yeah. And I remember it was a big hit, and it was one of those films that these come along every so often, and it always makes me both happy and sad, because the way the media just kind of is like, oh my god, this movie made a lot of money, because it came out in the summer, if I remember correctly. And it was like the sleeper hit of the summer, and it was like, oh my god, amongst all these action movies and franchises, and this is before the MCU, so you can't blame it on them. But this movie, it's like, yeah, because sometimes people want smaller movies. Like, why are you surprised?
Well, I think about a lot of it too was showcasing a family that was, first and second generation immigrants. Not a lot, like you get actually quite a few Italian movies. There's a lot of Italian families in movies. Not so many Greek.
No.
And I know my family in particular really loves the original movie, because even though my family's not Greek, we're Eastern European Roma, there was a lot of similarities, like the big family, noisy, loud, lots of food, and lots of traditions, and also it's just like so in the original, John Corbett, of course, is the white guy who comes in and marries Vardalos' character. And
she wrote all these movies.
Yes, she did. And she formed a close friendship with Tom Hanks' wife, Rita Wilson, because Rita Wilson's also Greek. I think, if I'm remembering my Oprah episodes from back in the day. But so John Corbett comes in, he's a vegetarian, and there's this moment where Aunt Tula, I'm sorry, was it Aunt Tula?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Tula says something about like, come over to have dinner, we'll make a roast. And he goes, but I'm vegetarian. Totally silent. She goes, that's okay, I will make you lamb. And this is very reminiscent of a family story. My dad was a Baptist, white guy from Kentucky, never drank a drop of alcohol in his life. And my mom's family, dark, partying, Eastern European, Roma family. He comes over to meet my mom's family, and they offer him a drink, and he says, no, I don't drink, and he they say, "That's okay, I will get you a beer." So it's just like little crossover things like that were just so reminiscent of my family. So like my family really kind of attached to this movie.
Oh, okay. So you have a real familiar connection to this one. So I never saw the second one.
Right.
So I can't speak to it, but how did you feel about the second one?
The second one felt like pretty good fan service. It wasn't, life-changing or anything like that. I went and saw it with my best friend when it came out in 2016. And in that one, sorry, this one kind of reminds me of your family. There was a problem with the marriage certificate hadn't been signed, and they had to renew their vows, and they ended up having a big wedding to renew the mom's vows. Lady Kazan and Michael Constantine's characters, Gus and Maria's, they have a big wedding for that. That one was interesting because this is such a kind of wholesome family movie, and this was like 7 years ago, and we were just talking that they actually made Joey Fatone's character gay in that one, and so that was he kind of came out to his family in that one. So I thought that was good. Same characters came back. They said, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't life-changing, but it was good fan service.
Okay.
And so now we have this one 7 years later. Michael Constantine has passed on.
Yep.
And so that's kind of part of the story, is that his character Gus he has passed away. Their mom Maria is
looks like she's in the early stages of Alzheimer's.
yeah, she's starting to forget them. Yeah. And so they've promised to deliver a journal of Gus's life to his childhood best friends back in his hometown of Greece. And so that's really kind of where we get our plot line for this movie.
And we say that with big quotation marks around it. The plot line.
So it's got all of that. The one thing I very much enjoy about this series of movies is that they remain true to the actors and actresses in them. Like, they're not replacing them because they're older. The same character who plays Nikki in 2002 is playing Nikki in 2023, and she's still wearing leopard print dresses that are skin tight. Lainey Kazan, even though she's 83, is still very much a part of this movie. Yeah, they even use, which is I think more unusual, they use the same actress to play the daughter.
Yeah, that was interesting.
In the 2016 and the 2023 version.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because normally, that would be the part that most people would recast. But yeah, so they did. So that's good on them.
So again, written by Vardalos, put out by Playtone. All right, we have and of course a few new characters. The mayor of the small town, Victory, a non-binary character. What I do enjoy about that aspect of it is that they just brook no foolishness with it right out the beginning. They make it known there's not going to be any drama about the fact that this is a non-binary character. Like, as soon as we are introduced, like a minute later, Aunt Tula is saying, "I have a gay son." She's saying, my daughter's been divorced 3 times. She makes a reference, and it's actually a pretty non-offensive reference of, do you feel more feminine or more masculine? And Victory basically says sometimes one, sometimes the other, sometimes both, and sometimes neither. So, and then that's basically it. When they get to the wedding, the inevitable wedding at the end, Victory dances with both the men and the women, and no one bats that's an I. It's just that, so I think they did that well.
Okay.
All right, now, throw it at me, honey.
Throw what at you, my love?
The spaghetti you're dying to throw at the wall. Or moussaka, I guess, since we're talking Greek. So many complaints, you don't even know where to begin.
I don't know where to start.
Okay, so let's talk plot. Now
What plot?
Yeah.
What plot? What? Okay, so we just did this whole lead-in, and I want to say this out first, is that I have no objection to the quote-unquote the plotless.
Right.
I have no objection to the low-stakes film. I have no objection to the comfort movie that is just kind of there, and it's relaxing, and there's not a lot of trauma, and there's not a lot of issue, and you can just kind of enjoy. Nothing wrong with that. And I have no objection to a movie much like this one that feels like it was paid for by the Greece Chamber of Commerce.
Oh yeah, I gotta go to Greece now.
Yeah, as a tourism film. No objection to any of that. It all has their places, and as we've already discussed, everybody has their favorite kind. That being said, God, this thing is such a lump. It is such a lump of a movie. It is just there. And it does nothing. It says nothing. It accomplishes nothing. It is just, there's no plot, there's no stakes, there's no conflict. Any conflict, yes, I do think, as you said, it's wonderful that off the bat they had a non-binary character, and they made it clear this is not going to be an issue. But it would have been nice if something had been an issue. If there was some conflict. This reminds me. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I will argue that there are conflicts. There are conflicts that happen. There's the one with the couple who wants to get married, which obviously leads to the inevitable wedding. But they are tied up so quickly. A conflict is introduced, the next scene it's resolved. A conflict is introduced, the next scene it's resolved. Like, it just, it's just, there's no lingering, anticipation at all.
I said this last night. The movie it reminds me of the most is the first Downton Abbey movie, which when I saw that one, it felt like they were trying to cram a season's worth of storylines into 2 hours, because you're watching, you're like, oh, okay, so this is going to be the plot. An assassination attempt on the king, and the one guy gets blamed for it. No, okay, they resolve that. All right, that's over. Oh, so this is going to be the conflict. The gay footman is going to get called out, and they're going to no, that's taken care of. Oh, this is going to be the plot. They're going to okay, so no plot then.
I think that you do have an overarching theme, as in, now that Gus is gone, who's going to take care of the family, who's going to keep us from losing touch with each other, which is a valid, that one kind of, that gets me a little bit, because we struggled with the same thing when I lost both my parents. But
that would have been a good thing.
Just so,
but they'd already resolved it. She already took the reins, and that's the very beginning of the movie. She took the reins and decided, I'm gonna get us to this reunion, and so it was already, everything was over but the shouting. So yes, that would have been a good, or the idea of, reconnecting with your past, or something.
So they have this whole storyline of these three guys that they're looking for to give the book to his childhood friends who he had to leave behind when he went to America, and they don't even let these guys speak.
Nope, not a line.
You get to the end and you think, oh, they're going to tell stories about his childhood. They're going to, it's going to be a nice moment of connection. No, these guys did not get the bump for speaking
they're like, oh, point at my picture, old.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing in this. Okay, but I'm even willing to let that go if I was spending the time with characters I wanted to be around.
Okay.
And not a one in this did I want to spend more than 5 minutes with.
Let me see. I think by not having, so like they take some of the family with them, but they don't take all of the family with them. And I think you really needed the balance of all of the different characteristics, all of the different personalities. Because Nick just kind of gets annoying.
Yeah, Nick, that's the brother, right?
Right.
Yeah, so his main thing is I'm going to do gross shit and groom myself in places that any adult man knows you don't groom yourself at. Especially one with the parents that this guy had. Just going to pick your toenails right there at the fucking breakfast table.
But, like, he's just very, very concerned about being groomed properly. Tula, who, I don't know.
Is that our main character?
Yes.
She was insufferable.
She does get super, like, in the first one, you get why John Corbett's character falls in love with her, because she's kind of goofy and kind of charming.
Yeah.
But she's lost all of that.
Yeah.
You know? She just seems like a big ball of anxiety.
All right, you know what? I'm going to talk about, I'm sorry to usurp here, but I want to talk about her husband.
They just...
The white doofus who, like, it's like bringing Goofy along on a family vacation. Like, his wife is openly flirting with another person, and he's just like, oh, you think he's handsome? Oh.
Okay, no. I'm not gonna listen to that argument, because you think it's hilarious when I talk about Adam Page.
But if Adam Page was in the room with us, I would not be as...
I mean, that's also resolved pretty fast. Plus, she was drunk.
Do you know what? Do you know what really got me about her husband?
Okay.
What the part that really, and I understand it's my big fat Greek wedding. It's about her family. They have this scene towards about somewhere in the middle of all of this, where she's like, "Oh, it's been a tough year. You know, we lost my dad. Yeah. Oh, and your dad too." It's like, so his dad is dead. We get nothing on that. Clearly nothing about how he's feeling. Well, because it has to be about her family.
Well, I think that's kind of the entirety of the movie, is that they just didn't dive deep enough. Because they set up this whole relationship where he goes down and he talks to a monk by the seaside, which would have been a great time for him to talk about how he's feeling lost and unmoored and not knowing how to be the head of his own family, and so he doesn't know how to be the head, like help his wife be the head of hers. Like, it could have been so easy to develop that, but it really felt like John Corbett showed up for the weekend to Greece to film this while he was in between doing stuff for Sex and the City.
They made him into, and again, no problem with this kind of character. You know, they have their place, and I understand why they exist, but he really did become, you said this felt like a made-for-TV, like a Lifetime, or
not even a Lifetime, like a Family Channel movie.
Yeah, because he felt like one of those, "Hi, honey, my two favorite things are commitment and improving myself."
I mean, yeah.
And I have no personality beyond that.
Yeah, it did feel like that.
You know?
I do love that they have kept, like, I love that they didn't ever, with their relationship, they never went the way of jealousy or cheating or anything like that.
See, and that's what I thought they were going to do. that's when with the guy who turned out to be her long lost brother. Yes, there's a long lost brother in this.
Well, there was a long lost brother in the last one too.
So there's two long lost brothers. Interesting. It's like a telenovela.
Okay, you're telling me you know who all of your family members are? You would be surprised. It would be a complete and utter shock to you if all of a sudden you found out your grandpa had an extra brother somewhere.
I mean, sure, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways.
So what about, okay, you want to talk about non-characters. What about our two characters who actually get married?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are you people?
Well, and that's the thing, is that they are connected. And you've got the woman who's in the wedding, she's a Syrian refugee. You don't get any discussion about, like, what her life was like, why she had to leave her family behind. Nothing. It's just she's in Greece now, so life is perfect.
Yeah, and her husband, I don't even know his name. He's like,
Christos.
It's like, and here's this guy. And because, yeah, that was so confusing, because it's like, they show up, we'll talk about the daughter here in a second. They show up in the village with their mopey ass daughter. In comes Syrian refugee girl, and they are like, oh, hi, hugging, oh. And I'm like, oh, is this like a lesbian? Are they gonna be like a same-sex couple, and that's gonna be the plot line, of discovering yourself and all of this? No, very next scene, she's like, and this is my fiance.
Yeah.
And she and mopey daughter still look at each other like, oh, yeah.
I think and maybe this is just a Greek thing, not having any Greek in my DNA. I don't really know, but there was a lot of odd sensual times. Like, I mean, so when they get to the point where they are spreading their father's ashes, and it's the three siblings, and it's in the dark, and there's all these hand movements and this starlight and stuff, it was oddly sensual, right? And, like, there's moments with Nikki and Angela where they're searching for the cousins that are weirdly flirty.
Yeah.
And
like, until you said that Joey Fatone's character was gay, I was like, I thought he was married to the other woman.
No, that's a sister.
Oh, I didn't freaking know that.
So,
It's like, but yeah, like, other guy there who gets married, it's like, and I'm here too. It's like, who are you, sir? But what about, like, the ultimate in annoying characters? What about mopey daughter?
Oh, she felt so much more like bipolar daughter than mopey daughter to me. And I don't know. I think that she again suffered from short, scripted, surface level stuff. She's struggling, moving away from her family, and she's gonna have to figure it out for herself. But there's no resolution other than, oh, now I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
There's no like, okay, these are the steps. I've already talked to the dean. I've already figured these problems out. No, it's better now because she's got a boyfriend.
Yeah.
A Greek boyfriend.
A Greek boyfriend who her aunts invite along on this trip for the sole purpose of trying to get them.
He works. The aunt's a travel agent.
Oh.
He works for her.
Okay. Because
So.
I was like, okay, so you're just that's a hell of a matchmaker. You're trying to be there paying for this kid's ticket.
I suppose if you were more into the Greek canon, in my big fat Greek canon, a lot of these things.
The lore.
So.
Gotta be into the lore.
But I do, like, if anything, this movie just made me want to go back and rewatch the first one because it was so simply charming, and it really did kind of give you this idea of a woman who is figuring out what her life looks like now as an adult. And that's not easy when you have a close family. So,
I don't, like I say, I just feel like this film, is the victim of one of these trying to wring another payday out of a well-known property.
Hey, I can't blame them. If I could convince somebody that I had to do a job that took me to Greece to swim in the ocean and stay in a villa and eat Greek food, I would do that.
You
get yours, Nia Vardalos. You get yours.
Good for her, and good for the cast. You'll go on a Greek vacation. No judgment. Just saying that I look at this film, and in comparison to the first one, and admittingly, I've only seen the first one I think once, but watching it, you can see, okay, this is a movie being made by someone who has something to say, who has a purpose, who has a reason, who has a need to tell this story. That's not here.
Slugbug.
This is...
I don't know. I think she did have things to say. I just think she didn't actually talk them out.
Maybe stick with one storyline.
Right.
Or stick with one conflict or something like that.
That's part of the problem with doing several movies where you're involving a family like this, is that by this point, the audience is invested in more than just your main character, and they want to know things about what's going on with the other ones, and, too much of a good thing. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Now, if you loved the first two, then you will likely love this one as well. And honestly, if you just want to look at some really beautiful scenery, like, Greece is gorgeous.
It is.
If you want to just see scenes of people dancing and being happy with each other, then please, go ahead and watch this. But if you are actually looking for something with some meat on the bones, this is not the one that you're going to want to watch.
Yeah, so I can get why some people are going to like it, and no problem with that. But just, I just was there the whole time, just like, is anything going to happen?
All right, give us your grade, Air Director.
I'm gonna be nice and say I give this one a C-.
Okay.
Just because, again, it's not offensive enough to fail.
Right.
And again, movies like this have their place. There's, everybody needs a comfort movie. Everyone needs a pretty scenery movie. So I can see why it would be appealing. To me, though, it was just, like I say, it was a lump. It was an amorphous blob.
I'm going to say a C.
Okay.
To borrow a phrase from my favorite scumbag, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, mid. Like, mid. Everything about this movie is mid. Like, great scenery, not a good plot, levels out somewhere. I could, if I had to watch it again, I wouldn't tear my eyes out. But, I'm not going to search it out.
It'd be a good one to, put on in the background while you're doing crafts.
Right, especially, with the Greek music and whatnot.
Yeah,
if I wanted some kind of, summery inspiration, because that's the thing, too, is, Greece is really a place you want to visit in the summer. I would say this movie probably should have come out in, May or June.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, my mom likes to watch movies like this one in the winter, when she loves watching that Death in Paradise show in the middle of the Alaskan winter, because it's this beautiful Caribbean island kind of thing.
I would say maybe a springtime release would have been better for this one.
Yeah.
But mid. So, anyways, so stay with us over the next couple of months as we explore the wonderful world of Christmas releases and Hallmark movies.
And try to get caught up on some of the films that we still haven't seen. We still got to do Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh, I know. I love Spider-Man, but animation makes my head hurt. Anyways, all right, guys.
Anyway, so thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming along. And as always, drive safe, and we will see you at the movies.